What's up, you guys? My name is Ryan Gage, and this is my speech to y'all. The purpose of my speech is to persuade you guys to act on this issue and relate to the problems that I've experienced, and to hopefully get y'all to think and act differently on this issue, and maybe get involved. What's up, guys? Have y'all ever experienced anxiety or stress-related problems in high school or at some point in college? I bet every single one of us has, yet there is probably only a couple of y'all, if any, that have actually been able to relieve or reduce this overwhelming anxiety before it gets to the point where you feel exhausted and stuck and are forced to just suffer. Especially in our day and age, the amount of teens across the world that are suffering from these problems has skyrocketed over the past 50 years. And we are currently sitting at the highest level ever, with a massive amount of these anxiety disorders and issues being undiagnosed, untreated, and unhelped. I'm interested in this issue because there have been a few times in my life where I've been overwhelmed with stress and anxiety and just never thought of seeking help or treatment because I hoped it would get better on its own. And while it somewhat did, I still suffered, and I wish that I would have asked for help or sought out ways that I could treat myself or get myself better to hopefully change my mindset on the issue instead of keeping it all in and having nobody know about what I'm experiencing. Along with me, I bet there are countless teens that have experienced some type of anxiety or overwhelming stress that made you feel stuck. And there are probably people in this room that have experienced this too. Along with that, I want to inform more and more students and teens my age and y'all's age that, along with people that are older than us, that this issue is more dangerous than we could even imagine. And if we didn't start informing everyone and looking for solutions to a worldwide problem, then the percent of teens that will continue to experience problems will get higher and higher. Despite what everyone thinks about how anxiety disorders and depression are actually overdiagnosed, overly cared about, with the percent of teens that suffer from them, these issues are actually underdiagnosed and never get treated most of the time, along with teens never even reaching out or seeking treatment or help for these issues. According to statistics posted by the Child Mind Institute in 2015, 49.5% of teens under the age of 18 will have a diagnosable mental illness. The percent of teens that don't get treated for depression is 60%, and for anxiety disorders, it's at a ridiculous 80%. These numbers should never be this high, and for all we know, since 2015, they have only risen, which they have according to recent statistics. The amount of teens our age and younger that suffer from these anxiety disorders and depression that never get diagnosed or even seek treatment is terrifying. And I hope with this speech, I can convince all of you guys in this room to care more and be more supportive about this issue, especially if you have too experienced some type of anxiety disorder or depression that got left untreated and undiagnosed. Despite the high prevalence of teens that suffer from these issues, anxiety disorders are underdiagnosed, misdiagnosed, and inappropriately treated. The amount of teens that actually seek out treatment for their issues is at an alarming low number. Today, most people assume that anxiety disorders are overdiagnosed due to the high numbers of teens that are displaying symptoms of stress, anxiety, and depression every day. But actually, according to recent studies and statistics, an alarming amount of teens don't ever seek help or treatment or are even diagnosed for these issues. And I have some graphs and statistics that I found that display the reasons that teens seek out mental health services, the percentages of teens that never receive these services, and the reasons behind why teens don't ever seek out mental health services. This is my slideshow showing the statistics and graphs that display teens who suffer from anxiety and depression, along with why they seek services for these issues and why they don't. So over here we have a graph that displays the top reason college students seek out mental health services for these issues. The number one reason that college students seek mental health services is anxiety, followed by the number two issue is depression. Anxiety at a whopping 24% and depression at 18.6%. The list goes on. Anxiety and depression are followed by relationship problems, stress, family and interpersonal functioning, grief, loss, academic performance, and a lot more factors. Over here we see a graph that displays more students every year seeking mental health support. And this is the number of students who access treatment during these years. Starting with 2012 to 2013, we had about 50,000 students that accessed mental health support treatment. And then in the year after, it rose about 5,000, and the year after it rose about another 5,000, and the year after it rose another 5,000 to 10,000, and in the 2016 to 2017 year, it rose just over 5,000. It's meaning it's going up every year, and yeah, it's going up more and more every year. And this relates to more and more students every year that are suffering from these issues, which causes more and more students to seek out mental health support for these issues. Over here we have a graph showing the amount of teens that never seek mental health services and the reasons they don't seek mental health services. 700,000 of them said that it was due to cost or insurance that they didn't ever want to seek mental health services. 570,000 said that it was structural barriers, followed by 545,000 of them saying it was the perceived discrimination around getting help for these issues. The next one was the low perceived need. They didn't think that they actually needed these services for their issues. That was at 534,000 students or teens, followed by 180,000 teens never thought that this would even help with their issues. In conclusion, some of the main reasons were cost, not knowing where to go or who to ask for help, believing that they can deal with it on their own, and other reasons altogether explain why so many teens don't seek out help for mental health issues such as anxiety disorders and depression.